Live. Okay, I think we're live. So, Linux versus Windows comparison side by side in a VirtualBox environment. If you can see on your left, you've got Windows 10, and to my right, we've got Linux Mint 19.2 Cinnamon, both 64-bit version. Welcome, chaps and chapettes, name tags, and if you can hear me before we start this live stream, I mean, I've already started before I go into the crux of the live stream. Can you say hello to me so I know that it's actually working? I still have problems every time I try to do these live streams for some reason. It looks like something is working. If anyone is joining in, just say hello. If it works at all, I'm not even sure. Say hello, tell me where you are, what you're doing, and let's have a little chat first, okay? And of course, by all means, if you're new here, my name is Ash, this is Hilmy Tech, and I'm trying to help you develop a better relationship with tech. So consider subscribing and click the bell icon to go from newbie to techie. Also, in the description below, there might be some Amazon affiliate links. Use them, it will help the channel out. And if anyone feel they want to give me some super chat today, more than welcome. All right, I can't see anyone writing anything in the comments, so I don't know if it's working. Can someone just please type in something, at least hello, so I can answer back? Why do I always have problems? Am I the only one? This is a bit strange. All right. Alex Buckley, I can't see you on my... Oh, yeah, cool. Hello, right, we got some people. We got Alex Buckley, Yeet, Jasper Williams, hello. Hello to the both of you, welcome. And if anyone else wants to join in, please feel free to join. Okay, I don't want to waste too much of your time. You can feel free to, send me some questions. I'm going to make it very clear though, this is like a beginner's guide and a comparison between Linux and Windows. The way I see it, there are about 4 categories of people that's going to be using computers generally. First one is going to be a general user, someone who's browsing and maybe some productivity applications like Word document and multimedia, etc. And the second one is going to be those gamers, okay? Third one is going to be people like myself who are content creators, and the fourth one are going to be power users, which include Linux administrators or even Windows administrators. Curiosity, hello, welcome, and Max laughing, hello brothers and sisters, hello yourself. People, let me know where you are, what you're doing right now, and what else you want to say for the end of 2019. All right. Okay, guys, I hope you can see in front of you, we've got a VirtualBox running. This is Oracle, and to my left there is Windows 10, and to my right it's Linux Mint 19.2 Cinnamon. So this is a bare bone new installation on each of the operating system, okay? So Windows, you know very well. I've not done anything to it. And on my right, we've got Linux Mint again. The only thing I did to Linux, I think, was some security updates, and that's it. No application. So pretty much what you have is a out-of-the-box experience, what you would get. Now, the reason I wanted to tell you, first name, last name, hello, brilliant, first name, last name. You forgot middle name. Okay. Now, in January 2020, just about a month, Windows 7 end of life is coming. There will be no more support for the mainstream. So you got a choice. Microsoft obviously wants you to jump over onto Windows 10, which, by the way, if you're still looking to get Windows 10 for free, do not buy it. Don't spend your money. Don't waste your money. You can still get Windows 10 legally for free. I've done it in the last few days. I've activated 2 Windows 7 systems. So if you've got a Windows 7 product key, which is genuine, or Windows 8 or 8.1, you can still upgrade to Windows 10 for free. You can do it a few different ways. People have done videos on this, but I might do a tutorial soon. You can do an in-house upgrade from the machine itself. You download the media creation tool from Windows, and then you just go through the process. If your Windows 7 or 8 was already activated, it will automatically activate in theory. The second way is you install Windows 10 from scratch, and then you use a Windows 7 or 8 or 8.1 product key to activate it. And the third one is you just install Windows 10, and then after you don't activate it during the installation process, but after you log on to Windows, you can just use your Windows 7 or Windows 8 key to activate it. So Linux free, of course, Linux is free 90%, well, more than 90%. There are some commercial applications. For example, Red Hat is enterprise Linux version, which is paid. And here Ubuntu is bringing an Ubuntu Server Pro in kind of junction with Amazon Web Services, which is going to be paid. But for the most part, for you and I, it's completely free. There is no charge. It's open source. And it's legal. Hi bro, finally got Windows 10 fully activated totally for free. Fantastic. Again, don't pay for Windows 10. There is no need. We don't know how long Microsoft will continue to allow people to activate Windows 10 for free. It's still working, so go for it. I'm probably going to try to use all of the Windows 7 key that I have and to get on board, really. Not that I want to, but why waste it? Okay, now let's get cracking. Linux, right, Windows. So out of the box, Windows, Linux. What you can see is a bare bone desktop environment for each, and pretty much what you get is recycled bin and Microsoft Edge by default as icons for Windows, and on Linux you get My Computer or Computer and a home folder on the desktop screen. So very similar. Now, to the bottom left, if you click on the Windows Start menu, you get the familiar, display of some of the options here, and then some of the apps, and then some icons again, which is coming from Microsoft because they want you to just buy stuff from them. So more of advert-based stuff. But for Linux, clicking on the bottom left, you get again similar things, except without the advertised icons, okay, which is better for the most part. But the familiarity on both OS should be pretty similar if you're coming from a Windows environment. Again, when using Linux Mint, other Linux distributions will be different, but this is pretty much what you get. The one thing against Microsoft at the moment for Windows is if you're looking for a certain application, I mean, sometimes it works that if you type in Edge in the search bar, you might be lucky to get the actual application coming up. But for the most part, sometimes, like here, it's taking you to the browser to give you an internet choice, internet result, as if that's what we want. But Linux, if you type in an application, let's say Firefox, instead of taking you to the internet to give you a result, it will actually give you the application itself, which is what you want. So there is an issue with that with Windows at the moment. It's been for a while. Well, if you're trying to look for an application you've actually installed on a computer, the first result isn't necessarily the application itself, which is a bit of a problem. Okay, Candy Crush. Hey Pixel Cube, welcome. All right, now I've asked, okay, most people nowadays, what they're going to do on a computer is browsing. This is probably over 90% of anyone's activity. It doesn't matter what you are, what kind of user you are, you're going to be browsing for the most part. And like you can see in front of you, okay, by default, Windows will give you Microsoft Edge, okay, and by default, I'm going to take myself off now. We don't need me, and by default, Linux is going to give you Firefox. All right, a browser is a browser, guys. I mean, what you're going to do in one browser that you can't do in the other one, really and truly, that shouldn't be an issue. So as long as you've got a browser, you could literally use any operating system. And what's the difference between Edge and what's this one, Firefox? Why is my thing not working? To be fair, I prefer Firefox to Edge, again because of the forced advertisement from Edge, and also the potential data collection and privacy concerns. You all know about it. So, but to be very fair, a browser is a browser. You go to YouTube and the experience on each is going to be exactly the same, so there is no need to panic if you are switching over from Windows to Linux. You see in front of you exactly the same experience. You want to click on something, no problem, it's going to play exactly the same, not a difference. Okay,
writing's not that easy,
obviously, with the adverts and whatnot. So it's like coming over from Windows, or sorry, from an iPhone to an Android phone, or vice versa. You know, at the beginning you might think it's difficult, but it's not really difficult, is it? It just takes a matter of getting used to. Okay, right. So the most things people would do here would be just browsing stuff, but what if you want to download a program and install this? Is it different on each? Well, let's do that. So first of all, with Microsoft, with Windows, let's say you wanted to add Google Chrome, you would go to a browser and type in Google Chrome maybe, and then you would maybe try and click on Get Google Chrome, and you would click on Download Chrome. All right, and there will be a window pop up to help make Chrome better, whatever. Just accept and install, and it's gonna ask you to run or save the file, so you just click on run or save, whichever. I'm gonna click on run, and now it's gonna do its thing. How about on Firefox? Now with Linux, there are two ways for most applications to be installed. The first one is by default you should try and go to the software manager. Okay, and in there you need to look for the software. It's a bit like an app store or a Google Play store. So type in Google or Chrome, whatever, and as you can see, we have a Google Chrome here stable, which you can click on, and then you go through the the process and you just click on install. This should be the difference with Linux. Now type in your password to install it. The first place you go to should be on the repository or the software manager. Okay, and that's the difference. So however, okay, you have a choice. You can still do this through the website for certain applications. I'm going to show you now that we've just downloaded and installed Google Chrome. On Windows, it's asking us to now complete the setup, which normally you do. You click on that, and on Firefox, sorry, Linux, it's already done, and we just click on launch, and there you go. You get Google Chrome. So it's probably faster on Linux for some reason. Okay, and obviously it's going to be on your internet here. You can find it here. You can right click and add that to the panel, and that's going to be down at the bottom. Okay, so that's one way to install something in Linux. Okay, that is the better way, the faster way, the more professional way. However, if you're coming from Windows, Google Chrome is finished on Windows as well. Okay, but if you're coming from Windows, okay, you want to try the different way, which would be to install this. Sorry, let me repeat this. If you want to do the traditional way, you can also go to, let me remove the Google Chrome for now. This is how you also remove an application. If you've installed it through Software Manager, just click on remove and it should go. But while this is doing, let us go to YouTube, and I'm going to show you the other way. Now if you go to, again, download Google Chrome, for some applications, when you go to the website, it's going to automatically detect your operating system. Here, for example, download Chrome for Linux is asking if you've got a Debian/Ubuntu system or a Fedora OpenSUSE. Now, we are obviously using Debian/Ubuntu, mostly Ubuntu, because Linux Mint is based on Ubuntu. So you're going to want to click on that, click on accept and install. Again, you get the same choices, which is open or save the file. We're going to click open, and it's going to do its thing. You're going to get this install package manager here, and once it's ready, okay, it's saying to me it's the same thing is already installed, which is fine, but you can just reinstall it anyway, because we just reinstalled it. I did not completely remove it. And asking for your password, and this is the second way you can actually install a software. So far so good. Alex Buckley is asking both same for gaming. Alex, we're going to do a gaming version next. This is just an introduction. There are some differences in terms of gaming natively. Linux is not the best for gaming at the moment. I believe it's still Microsoft Windows. However, this is changing from year to year, Linux is getting really strong, and with Valve extending a lot more options and strength into the gaming community for Steam, for example, it's looking quite good. And recently we've had Proton, which is a way to install the games on Linux, so it's getting much better. But would I say that you should abandon Windows completely right now? I wouldn't say that at this stage. Okay, right. So there you go. So we've got this installed. Now, how do you remove a application in Windows? Usually what you would do is you would go to your apps manager, right click on menu, click on apps and features, and then you look for your app that you want to remove. In our case, let's see, if you want, it was Google Chrome, you just click on that and click on uninstall. And in Linux, what you can do is again go through the software manager and just click on remove. But I'll show you something else later. Right, so the next thing most people would want to do is obviously productivity, and by default Windows is not going to give you any productivity suite. It used to give you some sort of word pattern, etc., which is not great. So for productivity, you're going to have to go to unfortunately online and using either Google Docs, or you can even use Microsoft Word. If you've got a Microsoft account, you will have an online version which is free. I mean, it's good enough, it's basic, but you will need to have internet connection, right? But Linux has by default an application suite called LibreOffice. I've been using LibreOffice for the past 5 years, and I don't see the need for me to be buying a Microsoft Office or paying a subscription for Microsoft 365 or Office 365. So this is as good, and you have all the versions. You've got Word, you've got Excel, you've got PowerPoint equivalent, obviously, and it just takes a bit of getting used to, because the features are in slightly different places. But once you start using them, you're going to be okay, and you save them, no problem. Same thing. The only difference is when you click on save, make sure that you give it obviously a name for your file. Make sure you click as save as what is it called, Microsoft Word 2017-2013 XML. In that way, it will be a lot more compatible with Office documents. But if you didn't want to do this for each and every time you open an application for your Word document, you can go into, I believe it's tools, and then go to options, and there, if you go down to load and save, I think that's the one. There is a Microsoft there is general here. There you go. You go down to always save as. By default is as ODF text document, but you can just change that to Microsoft Office or Microsoft Word 2007-2013 doc and click on OK. And now every time you save, by default it will go to a Microsoft Word document format. And the same thing goes for Excel. So you've got what's it called, Calc, I believe. Again, this is locally already integrated into Linux. What more do you want? Again, it's free. You can of course install this on Windows itself as LibreOffice, which I've been doing for a long time. I've been using LibreOffice for Windows, and there are probably 10 other different kind of free suites you could use these days. So there's no need, one, to do piracy, and there is no need to be using Windows anymore. For those reasons. And I've just, what did I do? Oh snap, Linux is gone. Alright, so that's clear. Alright, any questions so far? Let's see. Dr. Jero, I dual boot Linux is good, but when it f's up, it really f's up good. Instead of fixing it, keeps a clone backup. Now I'm tired of trying to fix every time. Hey man, Dr. Jero, you are so right, and I want to address this. Now, guys, Linux is not perfect, Some fanboys would have you believe that Linux is the be and all of all things. It's not, There are problems. I am not a power user, by no stretch of the imagination. I've used Linux way before, and I've also used it sparingly. I do like it. Is it without problems? Of course, it's not. Um, then again, Windows has problems as well. So it's really a question of being really careful and not to go too deep into Linux, as in abandoning what you're used to, which is Microsoft operating system altogether. I would say, even for me, even for people who do use Linux, some of them I know, they will still keep a second operating system, and Windows is one of them, or you could be using macOS, whichever. I'm not going to be getting rid of Windows completely for a few reasons. One, it is the most used operating system in the world. Okay, you're going to need to know about it, you're going to need to keep updated with it. It's also very well supported, although it does break, like Linux, and Microsoft does its own thing. But Windows 10, I have to be objective here, is far better operating system than Windows 7 was. There are less problems, but when it breaks really good as well. So, what I'm going to say to you, Dr. Jero, and for anyone really who wants to get into Linux, be cautious. Keep two systems. I'm keeping two systems on most of my machines. Even now, as I move into 2020, I do want to switch to Linux completely, but not entirely, if that makes sense. As in, I want to use Linux as a daily driver, but I will keep Windows as a backup because I have had some issues for certain things. Today, what we're talking about is if you're a general user and if you don't need anything too advanced, there is no reason to be paying for a license for Microsoft or even pirating Microsoft Windows or Office, because you have everything you need with Linux. That's what we're saying. Hopefully that makes sense. And obviously, always keep a backup of your system image. I have the luxury of being able to use more than one computer. In fact, right now I'm managing about 10 computers, so I can put different systems on different machines, and therefore, that's not a problem for me. But if you do, again, this is why I said in my previous videos, I always try to dual boot on two different drives, not the same drives, one for Windows and one for Linux, if you can afford it, because otherwise it's a pain to try and undo the issues like Dr. Jero mentioned. Thank you very much. Zulu67, oh great, I have a question. Does anyone know about how the audio problem with Windows 10? I've had two computers in my home now, and with something messed up with the latest update. Zulu67, I am not aware of any audio issues specifically to an upgrade or an update. So can you send me some details? I'll look into it. If it is a driver issue, I've had driver issues for audio in the past with stupid Microsoft Windows 10 stuff, but I don't know specifically. Is there a code? Let me know. I'll look into it. Obviously, uninstalling the driver is always the thing to do. It doesn't always work with Windows, unfortunately. I've had a couple of machines before where we couldn't figure out the audio problem. We had to reinstall Windows completely, and it was weird. I mean, it does happen. So I hope, Zulu, if you do get a chance, just send me the details. I'll take a look into it. Okay. Right. So let's continue. Okay. Moving on, what else do you guys use a computer for? Let me know. I think most people would do some sort of multimedia application, and for that, actually, before we do this, let's try to do a PDF thingy. Okay. Now, by default, with Windows, what you get if you want to use a PDF reader, let me just download a generic PDF file. Let's download this one. Okay. Save. Yeah. What's happening here? Right. It's going to downloads folder, which is okay. That's what we want. And off me. Are we going? Oh boy, this is a bit silly. Here we are. Right. Download. Oops. PDF test file. Let's download this one. Did we download this one? Nope. There you go. Save file. Okay. Right. Now with Windows, I hate the one in Windows. It uses Edge to view the PDF. I find it incredibly slow, incredibly non-intuitive. So I don't like to use PDF a viewer from Microsoft Edge, right? Instead, I would be always using Adobe Acrobat Reader. So, and the way to get this obviously will be to download it from Adobe themselves and the usual stuff. So you know the drill, okay? But for Linux, we actually have a PDF viewer by default, and it's good enough. Let's do this one PDF test, and this is the PDF viewer. It's already included, and it's not an online thing, it's actually a local thing, which is a lot better. Okay, however, let me show you now, if you wanted to get something else and not the this version. Now with what are we? There we go. So this is you just look for Linux PDF viewer, and any of the website will give you some indication of what to get. One of them is called Ocular. Okay, so let's try and install something and remove it through a command line. Now this is another way to install applications on Linux. You can go through your software manager and you can look for it. This one was called Ocular. We can type in Ocular and hopefully it'll come up. There you go. This is the one. I mean, you could just install it through there, or you could follow the instructions from the website, which is open up one of the lovely terminal, which is your shell, and you're going to type in sudo apt-get install Ocular. Okay, very easy. Sudo apt-get install is going to be a very repeated command that you may want to use as an option. And now input your password, and it's going to go to the repository, look for the app and download it. This is much faster than doing from the internet usually, and hopefully, come on, take some time to get the there you go, it's done. Once it's done, you can go look for it by typing in Ocular in the search bar, and here we have it. And now you get yourself another PDF viewer. Okay, so almost anything you have in Windows, you will have one for Linux. Adobe used to support Linux for the Adobe Acrobat Reader DC. It is not anymore. It stopped, so that's not, you know, an option anymore. But luckily you have this. Now, to remove a program, which most Linux beginner users should learn about, you can again do it through Software Manager, or what you could do is do it through the command prompt. Let's go back to the command prompt. Where is it? Is this one? There you go. Now, all you need to do is sudo apt-get. Now, instead of saying install, you just say remove, and then the application you just install, which is now sudo apt-get, oops, what did I do? There we are. Sudo apt-get remove Ocular. Press enter, and do you want to continue? Yes. And this is how to you install and remove a program. Are we gone? There you go. So that's done. I'm going to clear this. Oh, it's not clear here. It's, I forget. Yeah, it is clear. Okay, I'll just clear the shell here. And that's it really. Let's go back. So what we're trying to say in today's kind of tutorial, we're trying to say to you people, anyone who's watching this, don't be scared of trying Linux. As you've seen, I've not really used any commands to be able to do all this stuff, and there's far more you can do. Anything you do with Windows, you will find an alternative for Linux. There is a learning curve. It is not perfect. My advice, keep 2 operating systems, but do start using Linux. Start using Linux with the intention of becoming a power user in the near future. I'm not a power user by any stretch of the imagination. I want to start using it more daily and then learning as I'm going along. And I'm hoping you guys will join me on this journey, so we'll do it together, hopefully. Okay. So yeah, have you got any questions? Let me know, because I don't want to spend too much time on this. 2020, I'm going to be switching over almost entirely to Linux. Distributions to use, Linux Mint is a very popular choice for Windows users. If you want to do that, let me switch to my webcam now. Right, but there are plenty of others, like Fedora, like OpenSUSE. Ubuntu is becoming a bit of devil's toy, because a lot of people are switching off from Ubuntu, although Linux Mint is based off of Ubuntu. It's not Ubuntu, but whichever, it doesn't matter. I'm going to tell you, if you're coming from Windows, just give Linux a try. It is relatively simple to install, to download and install. I've done a few videos on the channel. You can go and watch them up there somewhere. What else can I say to you? On this One PC to Rule Them All China series, I have installed all 3 operating systems, so I do want to use all 3 of them and do some comparison in the near future. So maybe 2020, I'm going to keep it entirely dedicated to learning Linux and bringing that to you guys. So this was just for end users, okay? This was generic browsing and productivity. Feel free to explore it. But for the next one, a lot of people are switching over and trying Linux for gaming. I am curious to do that, but I think before we do gaming for myself, I will be switching over as a content creator, because we're going to be installing video editors, so it get a bit more serious. I'm a bit wary of this because I know there are some issues with certain applications for content creation. Okay, let's have a look with some of the questions. What's happening? Are there any update for Linux? Zulu, what do you mean update for Linux? Some of the updates, maybe you have heard, like China, so I'm told, are scrapping Windows 10 when it comes to 2020. So there is this question whether they're going to be replacing the Windows 10 machine on a national level with Linux. Is Linux going to have a chance, or is it going to be a Mac issue, which I doubt, but we'll wait and see. Problem with Linux is Windows were like spoon feeding us as we grew, and moving to something new is scary. Okay, fair enough, but that's true for anything. Dr. Jiro, new can be very scary, but the way I see it, I don't know if you remember, if you ever tried Windows XP and then moving to Windows 7. Obviously we had Vista in between, which was a different interface, and it was a bit ridiculous. I remember coming from Windows 7, and the first time I did start tech repair back then, but I was using Windows 8 for the first time. I think it was 2 years into my tech repair, and I could not find the switch off button for 30 minutes. Windows 8 obviously was a horrible interface. No one wants to talk about that, but it was really, really horrible, and I couldn't find it. And then when we switched over to Windows 10 at the beginning, although it was a free upgrade, I took a long time to switch over, because I was really not happy with what was happening. Windows 10 was a problem at the beginning. A lot of it is fixed now, but change is always very, very difficult. But it's not difficult because it's inherently difficult. It's difficult because it's new. Anything new has a bit of learning curve. I hope makes sense. Now, what I will give you is, in the Linux community, there is a tendency for some more advanced users, some very tough fanboys, to scoff and look down on newcomers onto the platform. They will say things like, RTM, read the manual, or go back to your Windows, you noob, and all this, and it is really discouraging. But then again, you have fanboys in every field, okay? So don't worry about these people. We don't need them. Obviously they have the the knowledge they can share, but what I've seen is there's a lot of support on the internet from the Linux communities. You have to be very careful which community you select and where you get your information from. Granted, you will have a lot of different ways of solving a problem, and then when you do just input commands in without understanding how the file structure work, for starters, you will break something. One article I read, or one comment, I don't remember what it was. A guy was suggesting that a newcomer, if you want to be serious for Linux, you should not get an all-in-one package. For example, you know how Linux Mint is a distribution, but it has a few desktop environments. You've got Cinnamon, Mate, XFCE. What they're saying is that you should not pick an all-in-one package, because what works for one desktop environment doesn't work for others. So if you input command from a different desktop environment, even for the same distribution, it's going to wreck your whole system, which I believe to be correct, but that is rare, and that is only if you are going all over the place to find solutions, which I will not advise anyone to do, including myself. I've had this in the past. So where do we go from there? Man, what do you think of Windows 10 light color scheme? Light color, what do you mean? Is there something new that I don't know about, or do you mean the default desktop one that you go onto? Zulu, updates like for the operating system. Oh, okay. Zulu 67 updates. Yeah. For Linux, let me switch back. That's a good thing about Linux. When you want to do updates in Linux, you don't need to switch off your machine or switch on for updates to happen. You go click on your update manager, and then you have some updates like you can see right now. I can even do this right now, install updates, and it's going to do the updates in the background while you still work. Okay, unlike Windows, which is a big plus, because Windows updates is annoying and Windows forces update on you. With Linux, it is update when you want, and you can also not update them if you choose to, which is not recommended sometimes because it's to do with security patches. You should try and update, but the thing is, it is in your hands. You don't have to be feeling forced to do that. Okay, and even their processors that they use doesn't take as much resources with updates as Windows does. Oi, Britek, my man, how's it going, bro? Ladies and gentlemen, once again, we've got Britek in the house. Britek09 is a big YouTuber, much bigger than myself. Been on the live show once with me trying to do a what's it called? Live build of a PC. Did not go very well. So welcome back, Britek09. He has a lot of good tutorials on his channel, a lot of good stuff. Go and check it out. Go subscribe to him. I learned a few things from him myself at the beginning. Every now and then I do watch you, Britek. So good to know. And I've seen you've done some recent videos about Windows 10 upgrade and stuff. So yeah, he's done a few videos. I've just spoken about that today. You can go to his channel and watch how you can still get Windows 10 for free going forward from today. Yeah, man. What's the plan for 2020? Are we sticking to Windows? Are we joining Linux or Mac OS? Are we doing triple booting? What's happening? You tell me, man. And when we're doing a collab, you know what I'm saying? Could learn a few things from you. Yeah, I know, shameless, plug in. Okay. Dr. Jero says, oh, it's fine if I have it from the 1909. I don't have an issue with the light color they have. Happy holidays to you too, Britek. So, guys, if you have no more questions about comparison between Windows and Linux, as you've seen, we've finished with Acrobat here, Adobe, whatever you call that. Where is it gone? Okay, one thing I do want to touch on for today is going to be the file structure, I think, before we go, for Linux compared to Windows. Close all tabs. Stupid thing, man. All right. So, for Windows, the file structure is relatively simple, and when you go to Linux file structure, I mean, obviously the first click on the tab, you're gonna get something very similar, which is gonna be desktop, documents, downloads, music, pictures, and then public templates videos. This is very generic stuff. This is going to be in your home folder, okay? However, on Windows with the local disk C drive, you have right now got 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 subcategories. But when you go to the file system for Linux, this is where it gets a bit complicated. There are far more levels of file system, and they are weirdly named, you know, bin, boot, dev, etc, lib, media, run, USR, TMP. This is where it can get very, very confusing for people. So I would say to you in the beginning, don't worry about this stuff, but certainly before you start, you know, creating directories and folders, learn what each does. I myself don't know to a deep level on this stuff. We're gonna have to learn together, but I've messed these things in the past. But if you're a general user, you've just come on, you don't need to worry about this stuff right now. It will become, you know, clear as we progress along. Okay, might be one for you, Britek script hack. Hey, what's that? Is that the light thing? I don't know. Okay, so I got nothing else. In the studio, going quite slow right now. I'm having serious issues with Windows at the moment, trying to create shared folder and shared drives on my network. One day it works fine, the next day it breaks, it's taking away the permissions, and I don't know what's going on. But I'm trying my best, and I've been also trying to do a home server with NAS, but my server isn't working correctly right now, so it's quite messy. But hopefully moving forward, we're going to do a lot more Linux tutorial. Guys, I'm going to be out. If you've got no other questions, let me know if there's anything specific you want to learn. The next one hopefully we'll do about how to install all applications for content creation on a Linux system. And then the third one is going to be hopefully moving on to gaming on Linux. All right, I'm not going to be doing power user stuff just yet. All right, so thank you so much for watching. Go and check out my other videos on the channel. If you want to find more about Linux, watch these series up there, and give them a try. Try the live USB version first, and do be cautious. Pick any distribution you want and just give it a go. And my name was Ash. This was Heal My Tech, helping you go from newbie to techie. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe to the channel, and also use my Amazon affiliate links. And I will see you in the next one. Peace out. Now I'm going to stop the streaming.